Now for this video, let's get right to it. Today, I am announcing my candidacy for the 2024 Republican nomination to represent Colorado's 4th Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives.
After barely winning her last election in Colorado's 3rd Congressional District, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert has announced that instead of running to represent her current district, she's going to be running in Colorado's 4th Congressional District, a much safer district for Republicans. Take a look.
It's the right move for me personally, and it's the right decision for those who support our conservative movement. This is the right move for Colorado, for us. Since the first day I ran for public office, I promised I would do whatever it takes to stop the socialists and communists from taking over our country. That means staying in the fight, but it also means not allowing Hollywood elites and progressive money groups to buy the 3rd district, a seat that they have no business owning. I will not allow dark money that is directed at destroying me personally to steal this seat. It's not fair to the 3rd district and the conservatives there who have fought so hard for our victories, of which I'm incredibly grateful.
I'm Ravana, and welcome back to Rebel HQ. That was Lauren Boebert going on and on about how much she cares about the 3rd Congressional District, and that's why she's abandoning it in the upcoming election. After barely beating her Democratic competitor Adam Frisch in 2022, winning by a margin of less than 600 votes, I suppose Lauren Boebert saw the writing on the wall and the money that his campaign has been raising over the past 2 years. Because if she ran again in Colorado's 3rd, it definitely wouldn't be an easy race for the Congresswoman. So instead, she's opting to move to Colorado's 4th, which is currently represented by Congressman Ken Buck, who has announced he will not be seeking re-election in 2024. And Lauren Boebert can talk a big game about how Democratic PACs were spending in her district and how they're attempting to overturn the will of the people. But the fact of the matter is, the people in that district barely chose you to represent them. And your popularity has taken a nosedive, especially after Lauren Boebert was caught getting frisky with a little boyfriend of hers at Beetlejuice the Musical. And that day, we all learned a little bit more than we ever wanted to know about what gets Lauren Boebert going. But Lauren Boebert isn't just defending herself and her electoral interests in the state of Colorado. She also went on Newsmax to defend Donald Trump after the Colorado Supreme Court deemed him ineligible to appear on the ballot.
Let's bring in Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert to weigh in. Notice the Colorado Congresswoman part of that intro. Congresswoman, tell us what you think happened at the Supreme Court. Your district court or lower court ruled against this idea of Supreme Court overturning. Tell us, what's your message to your own Supreme Court?
Well, I'm very, very much ashamed of our liberal Supreme Court here in Colorado. The decision to remove President Trump from the primary ballot in Colorado is a complete slap in the face to our constitutional republic. The party who says that they are there to protect democracy are undermining voters and voters' confidence in our elections. This is election interference to its fullest and nothing but an act of fear from the left. They are terrified to have President Trump on the ballot because they know that he is going to win. I am deeply ashamed of the Colorado liberal Supreme Court for putting politics ahead of the Constitution. Their entire case is built off of lies and personal vendettas. The people celebrating this move have no idea just how dangerous this is for our republic.
Could ranked choice voting be coming to Colorado in 2024? Not if Lauren Boebert can stop it. We know this game by now. When a Republican loses, it's because the system is rigged. And when they win, the system is apparently fine. When Sarah Palin lost her congressional bid in the 2022 Alaskan election, she was quick to blame the new voting system for her loss. Just prior to the election, Alaska had adopted a ranked choice voting system, a system that isn't quite perfect, but it is far better in terms of efficiency and representation than the system most states are currently using. There's been a push in recent years for more states to adopt ranked choice voting, but Republicans in particular have been pushing back against it pretty hard. One of the main talking points is that ranked choice voting is undemocratic, but it's not. It's arguably more democratic than the existing system because numerically it seems to more accurately reflect the will of the people. For Republicans who can't seem to win a majority without enacting their own laundry list of voter suppression tactics, including but certainly not limited to gerrymandering, a more accurate representation of the people isn't a good sign for them. If you look at presidential elections alone, only one Republican presidency was won by winning both the Electoral Congress and the popular vote. The other two were won without winning the popular vote. In a two-party system, a binary voting system is, as we know, less than ideal when it comes to electing someone who actually represents the will of the people. What typically ends up happening is that the candidate with the most money and the most marketing behind them ends up on the ballot. The DNC and the RNC ultimately choose who those candidates on the ballot will be, supposedly basing their decisions on who the people want, but not necessarily. The primary process is a mess. Caucusing is exhausting and antiquated. Debates are, in my opinion, pointless with how partisan politics has become. And throughout the whole process, voters are stuck playing into a strategy. Do we actually vote for who we want to vote for, or do we vote for the person most likely to win in an effort to prevent the other party's candidate from winning? Also, the current process requires that popular and qualified candidates get completely knocked out of the race, perhaps prematurely, leaving their supporters with no choice but to throw their support behind a different candidate. Ranked choice voting, as I said, is not perfect, but it would eliminate a lot of problems with the current system, for example, the runoff elections, essentially simplifying the entire process and giving voters more options. Opponents of ranked choice actually say the opposite, that it overcomplicates the ballot, giving voters too many options to choose from, overwhelming them and discouraging them from participating, in so doing silencing the electorate. It's really not that complicated though. If they wanted to, voters can still just go with their top choice and be done with it. Hopefully, voters are well enough informed to at least know which candidate they want to vote for before they actually turn up to the polls. And the idea that Republicans are concerned with overcomplicating elections is absurd. If anyone has voted in a red state in the past several elections, you know that the process has only gotten more convoluted and more complicated. If anything, the current system silences the electorate as it allows party elites to choose our candidate for us. For instance, if we had ranked choice voting in 2020, Bernie would have at least been on the ballot as an option. Bernie supporters would have been able to vote for the candidate that they wanted to vote for and say, if not Bernie, I'll be fine with maybe Warren or Harris or Biden or whoever. Instead, Bernie wasn't on the ballot at all. We were just given a choice between Trump or Biden, and that objectively seems like much less of a voice than the other system offers. So in Colorado, they're proposing a 2024 ballot measure that would amend the Colorado Constitution. The measure proposes to adopt ranked choice voting and open primaries while eliminating the caucus and assembly process. It wouldn't take effect until 2026, but Lauren Boebert is worried about it. But she probably doesn't need to be. Boebert has a good chance of losing her seat in 2024 to the guy she only narrowly beat in the previous election by a few hundred votes. It's likely that this new voting system, if adopted, won't even be Boebert's problem at all. Still, she says she, quote, will oppose this effort to rig our election system in Colorado with everything I have. Ranked choice voting is a scheme launched by well-moneyed interests who are only concerned with their own power and not giving Coloradans a choice at the ballot box.